Yo, we live, y'all. Man, we back, y'all. Another with the Black Lunch Break, man. I'm your boy Rillo in the building, man. How's everybody doing today? What's up, sis? Ariana, what's up?
Feeling
Hey,
good. How y'all doing today? Beautiful faces.
we bright and we
Hey,
ready.
look, man, look, just so y'all know, what this is, episode 5, season 2?
That's it. That's it.
5, lucky number 5, man. We got Ashley Etienne in the building from the Biden campaign, senior advisor for strategic planning. Thank you for joining us, sis.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Y'all, we gonna let Ashley kind of warm up a little bit. We'll be right with y'all. Y'all make sure right now if you're just tuning in that you're sharing this, you're liking this, you're commenting. Make sure you send over some folks, man, their inboxes. We want to try and build up. We're gonna kind of get into a little bit about today is National Voter Registration Day. We got the census to talk about a little bit and why that's so important. Also, of course, updating you all on coronavirus, all things coronavirus, right? Got to make sure we keep that at the forefront of what we're doing as we're moving forward and how that actually is playing into the fact that today is National Voter Registration Day, right? And what are we going to be doing in terms of planning on how we'll be getting out to the polls come November 3rd, but actually before November 3rd, hopefully, right? We have 42 days until Election Day. It's right there on your screen. So make sure that you were locking in and doing everything you possibly can to make sure you're registered to vote, right? I think is obviously one of the most important elections of at least my lifetime, right? I thought it was Barack Obama, then I thought it was
Right.
Here we are in 2020, and again, this is one of the, if not the most important
It's a
elections
big deal.
time. We have Ruth Bader Ginsburg, rest in peace, man. We know what that is entails, so we'll get into a little bit more about that and the implication of the Supreme Court and how that's going to be playing out in terms of politics and all that going forward. And also really want to touch base on what happened in 2016 with the Merrick Garland nomination and how that wasn't pushed through and that the precedent that was set by Republicans in 2016, a lame duck year, Barack Obama, President Barack Obama, I should say, our forever president, number 44, right? We're going to just skip
All
over
that.
all that good stuff like that, man. So anyway, welcome to the show. It's episode 5 of the Black Lunch Break. Sika, I think it's Mariana. What you got, right? Are we doing a little?
Well, we got to do some questions because I am very concerned about community members who are seeing constant things going on that scare us, that keep us in emergency state of mind, that keep us in a heightened alertness all the time. I see us breaking down. I see us falling apart. I see us reacting. But for me, with hashtag you should know, it's all about creating lifestyle changes for the Black community specifically, who can get more in the preparedness state of mind, right? And so today I want to talk about on hashtag you should know safety bags, the power of creating safety bags, moving and shifting into more of a crisis awareness, a crisis prevention mentality, right? And we're in a state of emergency, multiples. Out here in California, we've been dealing with the fires. There have been hurricanes. We're dealing with all kind of different things. And so sometimes when we think about crisis, there's so much emphasis going on, the state of race and the issues of inequality in terms of our streets and how our brothers and sisters are being treated. But we also got to deal with Mother Nature and some of the extreme things that are going on in those places, in those spaces that we live every day that we don't have control of. You can't vote out a hurricane. You can't vote out a fire. All you can do is respond in kind as best as possible. And so a lot of the work that I do in the community is about creating safety awareness, crisis preparedness as a lifestyle. It's cool, it's hip. I try to take the stuff that we aren't thinking about and make it cool and hip, a part of everyday conversation. So there's two things that I want to challenge or at least stand in partnership with the community to do, right? And my style is to demystify, amplify, and then make sure to come up with practical solutions, prioritize. So we got to demystify the idea that safety awareness is something that we just do in elementary school, right? Stop, drop, and roll when you see a fire. We had all these little sayings when we were in kindergarten, stranger danger, right? But as we get a little older, as we have our autonomy, our ability to make our own decisions, we kind of get, a little invincible. We don't worry about until the crisis happens. We don't worry about it until it happens to us, right? And so a lot of my job is to make sure that we just demystify the idea that safety is not just for our local public children's stations when we're watching Sesame Street. Safety is 24/7, 365, all of our Black days of our lives. And it's always a priority, no matter how where we work, where we go to school, where we dwell, right? And so one of the first things I want to amplify is the power of having a safety bag, right? And I even brought mine here. It's a hiker bag that I got from Walmart, maybe $30, right? And it don't have to be a Fendi bag. I always joke around, a Gucci bag. It doesn't have to be something expensive. This is not about floss and how fly your bag is. It's about the content of the bag. And actually, when you go to my website at missmariana.today, I have a free dollar download where you can go, and it's a full checklist of all of the basic things that you should have. Some people that call them a safety bag, some people call them survival kits, some people call them bug out bags, whatever flavor you like, call it what you call it, but make sure that you have some of the basic things, and it's a grab and go state, right? I have a safety bag not just at the front door closet of my home, but I also have one in the trunk of my car. Because what is your safety bag doing for you if you break down in your car in the middle of nowhere? I know, Sika, y'all be driving all kind of different places because you're connected and so close to other states and cities, right? So it's important to start out with having one in your home, but also one in your car. And the basic contents, we could just talk about the basics, and then you can modify it. So, of course, water. Any kind of medicines or medications that you may need. You know how you have your extra, instead of hustling them off and giving them to somebody else, put them in your safety bag. Yeah, it might have an expired date on it, but it'll do a little more for you if you're in a state of emergency. Making sure you have a change of clothes, making sure you have some food, at least for a couple of days. I have MREs, which are called meals ready to eat, and you can get them at an Army surplus store. You can order them online. Making sure that you have your flashlight, some of your basic tools, a knife, things like this. And a lot of the times in that demystifying safety, I always try to tell Black folks, think like you're going camping. When you go camping, you bring everything you need. Ladies, bring your sanitary napkins, have all the things you would need if you were in an emergency and you had to grab and go, whether that is to sustain you inside of your home or outside of your home. So before I go on, how many of you in these boxes have a safety bag?
In my car.
Oh, very okay. That's a start. That's a start, right? Anybody?
I
I,
I ain't gonna lie. I mean,
I,
it depends, right? I ain't really got no safety bag. I got my book bag on my little strap I wear. But I mean, outside of like my headphones, my wallet, right?
right.
Every Black person in America, especially Black man, should have their wallet on them at all times, right? And then what else, man? Maybe I look clearly, bro. I'm not prepared, right? I'm not prepared. So if I if I had for all the brothers out there listening right now, because we know you're not gonna be carrying around no, like, I don't know how many people carry the merce, right? But for the brothers, real quick, what should brothers be having in their public safety bag? Because I wouldn't know where to start, man. I just got my wallet and my phone and my AirPod. That's it.
Well, first of all, let me not make you think you got to carry around a safety diaper bag everywhere. Calm down. You don't have to carry it everywhere you go. The idea is to have it planted in the home, in the school, wherever, in your neighborhood home, in your workplace, right? And a lot of people forget about that too. People that worked in the World Trade Towers, right? There's so many things that if you had something to clean a wound, and that one little emergency kit for the whole floor ain't it. So we start with the home. You don't have to carry it with you in your man bag, bro. Calm down. You start with it in your home. It's by the exit of your home. So that way, if you have to grab and leave, and look, maybe your vital statistics. We are so quick to depend on our cell phones. If your cell phone gets wet, if it gets crushed, if it breaks down, it doesn't matter if your phone has your bank, your medical. You need to have a copy of that vital information, your insurance, your lawyer's number, all those things.
Call on me. Call on me. Can you call on me? Call on me real quick. I just
Uh-uh.
I just need to know, is this public safety bag gonna stop the Republicans from
Oh
running down
Lord.
the nominee to the Senate? Is it gonna stop that? Because if it's not gonna stop that, I can't worry about a public safety bag right now. You know what I worry about? I worry about that we are protecting key
I have to
key
challenge
pieces of
one.
legislation and precedent that
Yep.
protect millions of
Right.
Americans.
These people out
That's
here ain't worried about Republican and Democrat. They're worried about the fact that they didn't have a copy of their vital information in a grab and go situation. So I get it, and I understand we're in a
no,
state of,
I'm just messing. I'm just messing.
I know, but I get it and I understand. We are in a state of emergency politically, but when it comes to our own body, and then for your pets, some of y'all got fur babies
Now,
and feathered babies.
My dog JB, he got a look. My lady's mama even said one time, she was like, man, he got a better purse than me. Like his bag lit. Now he got a better bag than me. He ready to go, man. Any given notice, his bag is ready to go. He's more prepared than I am, which is probably if you're a dog owner, you're probably similar situated as me.
Gotta start
He's
somewhere.
more prepared than you.
So as long as your dog, but then also speaking of our pets, anything that we love, your safety bag should also be customized. So yes, you can go to MissMariana.today. You can do a dollar download of all the basics, but everybody's bag is not the same. I wear glasses. I don't throw away a broken pair of glasses. I put them in the 4 safety bags that I have. I have a large one, a small one, I have a car one, and I have a grab and go one. So, and this isn't overnight, but I implore us to, the holidays are coming. Y'all gonna go to Bath and Body Works and get your big mama the 40th bottle of bubbly spray. And how about give them the startup of a safety bag? Even if you don't fill it all the way up, you can get them started on the trajectory, right? And then as far as that information, I want to show you, I actually picked this up at Walgreens. It's a life and care directory, right? And so it is so detailed. It allows me to put my medical information, my emergency contacts, your insurance policy numbers, every single thing can go in this. And this should be at least 1 or 2 copies. And it has for you and a loved one. So say you have a significant other or a child, it is a book that works for you. And then it also has additional information you can put for one loved one. So it's practical. If you don't want to sit down and type it all out, there are different books and journals that you can use. And then lastly, I want to say, number 1, emergency bag with the content. Number 2, having your emergency contacts available and your information. And then number 3, having emergency escape plans. If that cell phone doesn't work and you can't find each other, everybody should know if something pops off, we all go into Auntie Myrna's house, and that's where we'll all meet. Or if it's at work, does your wife or your husband or your significant other know that if there's emergency at work, I'm going to this back door, to this side alley, this is where you pick me up. Or lastly, for your children, when and if they're in school or any kind of activities, hey, if anything ever happens and there's an evacuation, go to this corner, this block, this address, and I'll pick you up from there. And this is not just for an emergency, but it can also be when we go to rallies and public events where we know stuff is popping off because of the social environments. We need to stop just going with flip-flops and tank tops and our fists in the air. We need to have that safety mentality of having water, whatever, milk to flush your eyes. Make sure you have emergency contacts, have a backup battery for your phone, have good shoes. So my whole thing with hashtag you should know today is safety awareness, crisis prevention, having safety bags, having safety plans. It makes you feel more confident in the moves that you make in your home, school, neighborhood, your workplace. And this is something that we truly need to pass on to our children. So that's my challenge, and that's my you should know for today.
Facts. I love it, sis. Rich is saying preparation is key. Totally agree. Totally agree. Totally agree.
That's so. That's my brother right there. But now, no. You know what's funny about the preparation is key. That exact phrase with the key. I remember I started in the Hill. Nicole Tisdale, bless her heart. I remember the first day I started on the Hill, I was like badgering every single person, just every person on the Hill, sending in my resumes, talking to folks every single day. And my first day on the Hill, Nicole emailed me. She was the first person to email me. It was like 9:15 in the morning. Nicole, she said, welcome. And she said, Cirillo, comma, and then she said, preparation is key. Welcome to the team. Best, Nicole. And so, yes, preparation is key, y'all. So y'all make sure that y'all got y'all affairs in order. Today is National Voter Registration Day. So keep that in mind, preparation is key. Yeah. Make sure you are prepared to actually vote at least on November 3rd, right? So if you're going to vote in person, I'm voting in person, right? I love voting in person. It's something about me going in person to make sure my ballot makes it there. But look, I think we're about over a dozen states now that have entered into the process of voting by way of absentee ballot voting, y'all. So make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you're on the rolls. A lot of people have been getting purged, especially in Republican controlled states like Georgia and Florida, things of that nature, Alabama as well. So you want to make sure that you are registered to vote. Don't assume, right? Make sure you are the Secretary of State. Make sure you're checking locally within your counties. If you're in Louisiana, make sure you're checking within your parishes. to make sure that you are registered to vote, y'all. So that's where we at right now. But real quick though, look, I want to make sure that we bring in Ashley really quickly, right? Because I think this is important, right? We got people from the Biden campaign working really, really hard around the clock. So we really do appreciate you for real. But before we get into the nitty gritty,
yeah,
campaign and what's to come ahead of us, right? And maybe you can spill a little tea for us, maybe not. We don't know. But before we get into that, right? The Black Lunch Break is really Mariana's gonna lead us in some icebreaker questions. There's 5 questions.
okay.
Don't worry too much, right?
As long as they're not too hard. I mean, I'm with it, but long as they're not too hard.
Icebreaker questions.
And one of them cannot be where's my preparation bag. I'll tell you.
Car bag, so you're okay. You
Yeah, I was gonna say because I'm a disappoint. Mine's in the car, right?
50 out of 100, but no, with Black with No Chaser, a lot of the times we are talking about political issues. We're talking about things about the social environment that can stress us out. So, our team kind of said, you know what, we need to have something that balances out. We love comedy. We act a fool on our page just the same. We celebrate all aspects of our Blackness. So we want to make lighten things up and get you a little comfortable.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
So
I'm ready.
I want to know a song that you know from top to bottom. I'm talking about the words, the hook, the verses,
ad-libs.
Yeah.
I would say there's a couple of them, but my favorite is definitely Equimini.
Okay.
Oh,
Outcast. Yeah, like it goes. And like when it pauses and the beat comes back in, I'm like, what? It still goes today.
Okay, I'm locked in.
The other is Lauryn Hill's Lost One. Because like I feel like
I want one line.
One line of oh shit. You would ask me one line. God, y'all, this is not a warm-up. This should have been in my prep notes. Can I get back to it? It's gonna come to me.
Bet.
Okay, all right, it's gonna come to me.
Next question. What's your favorite Black movie of all time, hands down?
Love Jones.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Okay. We fighting for this election though, so we fighting right now.
We fighting.
not with Black folks though. I'm only loving on Black.
What's your favorite scene?
In Love Jones?
Yes.
My favorite scene. Just because I just recently got a divorce, so I'm back at the stage now where she's like in the car with her girl, and she's like, "Look, it ain't that serious. I'm just having a good time." Like that's me right now, literally. Like I'm just trying to have a good time. Like, yeah, that scene where she's like, "Tell me what happened."
Yes.
Like, talk to me. Yes.
What's the next question? First time you recognize your own Black excellence, right? A lot of the times we're looking at our mentors, we're looking at public figures, but when was the first time you did something excellent? The very first time you was like, damn, sis, you did that. Like, you got to go on.
Yeah, I think probably the first time was, I showed up to DC and I didn't know anybody. Okay. And I knocked on doors and literally gave people a pitch why they should hire me. So I knocked on 5 doors, got 3 offers by the end of the week, and and it was go time after that. So that was probably the first time I was like, you know what? You can dream big and you can defy all expectations, literally in that moment. And that's when I probably realized it.
I love it.
This is not one of the questions, but Ashley, where are you from?
I'm from Houston. I was asking where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from New Orleans. Like, so Etienne, like,
yeah. So originally from Baton Rouge, and then yeah, exactly.
So, I know an Etienne that worked on the Hill in Richmond's office. Is that your people?
No, his first name was Etienne. I feel like not his last name.
Okay, yeah, I
don't know him, but I do know Nicole though. Nicole's fabulous.
Okay, word.
Yeah, you got a great introduction. Where'd you work on the Hill, by the way?
I was in the Committee of Homeland Security.
Oh yes. Yeah. So I did oversight with Cummings, and then of course Pelosi, and so yeah, I had a good time on the Hill.
Yeah. Awesome. That's what's up.
Degrees of separation, man.
Exactly.
Okay, next question. We gotta go.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Clementine too. I'm like, it's still running through my head. I'm like, what's my favorite line?
Horoscopes often die. Often something ever lie. It's nothing less forever.
He's saying something.
You got it.
Yeah, there you go.
If you got the beat, I'm on the whole thing. Like I got the whole thing.
Okay. Now this is the part where you get to actually plug and give praise and honor and respect to one of. I'm sure you have multiples. One of your favorite Black businesses and why?
My favorite Black business is my little sister has she has a business that she started. Yeah, so she does a lot of natural oils and soaps, and she just started doing like a beard line for men. So, and now she's trying to get into homeopathic type drinks and stuff.
Love
And I'm just
it.
like, go girl. I mean, like, you're on the cusp of it. And so
Sure.
yes, I support my sister, literally my sister at all times. So
Beautiful. Beautiful.
yeah.
Now, is there
That's a
people can find her? Can we get a shout out?
Oh,
Where's she at?
so I mean, of course you would ask me all these questions I don't know the answers to. But I got all the answers on National Voter Registration Day, okay?
Oil contact. I guess she gonna hook you up with her sister, and bam, you got beard oil. You got hair,
facts.
all that.
I'll send it to you guys.
What does Black with No Chaser mean to you? Thank you for being here. When you hear the concept or you see Black with No Chaser, what do we mean to you?
Yeah, I was just thinking when the team sent this over to me, I was like, first off, I need to tell these folks I love the title of the show. Like that's just dope in and of itself. So when I think about Black and No Chaser, I think about myself.
Okay.
Because like literally that's who I am. And I wish we could have this conversation not on camera, because then you would definitely get the Black with No Chaser. Right now I'm gonna give you like a little mocha latte, a little
Okay,
water
that's
down
what we
person.
want.
Right. But no, I mean, I think, it is really, hey, I think, the cool thing about it is not only is it reflective of sort of my own mindset and how I approach my life and what I value, but also it's just emblematic of the moment that we're in. And I feel that like in every aspect of my life, we're all confronting these situations. Like enough is enough in every aspect of our lives. So I feel like everybody right now, the moment is to be Black with absolute no chaser and keep it as raw as you possibly can, because that's what these times require. And literally, how else are you going to affect change without it? So I mean, kudos to you guys, because I just think it's really dope. So thanks
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm done. You made it through.
Good. All right. Listen, I still owe you the line from Equipment Night. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to it.
That's cool.
Hard questions. This is the very, very hard questions. I'm pretty sure Ashley, you've been around the block a couple of times, especially working on the Hill. You've been in politics for a while. So I mean, a lot of these questions you probably already know the answer to, in terms of just like not only where the Biden campaign stands, but in all likelihood where you stand as a human being, right? But I think that before we go into like voter registration day and where we're at right now into the political landscape, the Supreme Court, Breonna Taylor, I think it's important to kind of touch on that and what's to come as we anticipate the announcement from the Attorney General there. But before we get into that though, senior advisor for strategic planning for the Biden campaign, right? A lot of folks throw out a lot of titles, right? Senior advisor for this, senior advisor for that, media planner, this, that, and the third, digital strategist. What does it mean to actually be a senior advisor for strategic planning for a campaign?
Yeah, so what I am charged with doing is really being the glue in the entire apparatus. So charting out where we're going to go, what's the message, what's the texture to the message, so what are the events, how are we amplifying it, and then making sure that I utilize the entire apparatus of the campaign to move in that direction to amplify that message. So I chart out sort of, again, where we're headed, and then I make sure the entire ship is moving in that direction. So it's been cool. The other thing I would say is part of my other job is to plan for the principals. So where are we sending the VP? Where are we sending Senator Harris? As you know, today you might not know this, but she's in Michigan today. She's doing a shop talk with a conversation with brothers in a barber shop, which is spectacular. She's meeting with small business owners, African-American small business owners in Michigan, talking about the water crises in Michigan. So that's part of what I do, is to like decide where they go, who we talk to, what are we talking about, what are the textures and the layers of it all, how do we localize a particular issue. So that's what I do. It's a big title, a big responsibility. It's been a lot of fun so far, and to your point earlier, you know, we say every cycle that this is the cycle, right? This is the most important election. But I don't think that we can overstate how consequential this election is. And I say that to say, you know, it was Donald Trump who came to Black folks in 2016 and said, "What do you have to lose?" And what we've learned in the past 3 years is that we have everything to lose, from our life to our rights. All of them are disappearing. So it is by far the most consequential campaign of our lifetime. And I'll tell you a couple other reasons why. Not only are brothers and sisters getting shot in the streets just for living, not only is there a president that's stoking racial animus, but there's 40% of Black businesses that are going under that likely won't come back. Mm-hmm. You know, we have Black men unemployment rates are doubled in the past 3.5 years. And the president is in the courts right now. This is why we'll get to RBG later, but in the courts right now trying to undermine the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, which is really opened the door to millions of Black Americans to have health care. So literally this is not like any other election. And the reason why I say that is because anything that has happened over the past 3.5 years, 3.5 years ago, we could not have predicted it.
No,
none of us would.
Right.
None of us would have ever guessed that there would be kids still in cages 3.5 years later, celebrating their 30th birthday in cages, literally. So for me, I'm like, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Like, you know, if we don't win, like literally, I say this as an exaggeration to make a point, but who knows? We could all be on plantations in Georgia, like the way that
we don't know.
Yeah, the way that everybody's looking left like it's not even happening, right? It's looking the other direction like it's not even happening, or not taking this stuff seriously, or not challenging the president to live up to our ideals as a nation. So yeah, I mean, this is listen, it's for everything we've got, like in everything that we believe in and trust and have faith in is on the line come November. I think
you're exactly right. Like when I say everything goes on the line, y'all, like I remember when last election, right? Then people like, well, why are you voting for Hillary? Why are you voting in general? And I was like, honestly, the Supreme Court is at the top of my list. I understand, as a lawyer, somebody that's very like, I guess I know the court system more intimately than most. I worked on the Hill, I'm a little more sophisticated in that particular area of expertise, but still I try to like speak to my brothers and sisters who don't necessarily are equipped with all the knowledge and day-to-day what happens in the political landscape, and just try to break it down on an actual just basic level of like where we're at. And I tried to also speak to them about where we were at the time in 2016 because of a GOP controlled Senate. We had a judicial gridlock, right? Literally a judicial emergency where vacancies could not be filled because it was blockaded by a GOP controlled Senate, which is still controlled by the GOP, would set a precedent, which is that they're going to actually block every single nominee that Obama was putting up on the table, right? Regardless of whether or not that person is worthy and well qualified to sit in that particular seat for however long they decide to sit in that seat. And I really want to bring up the fact about Merrick Garland and how those politics played out, because in 2016, there's a campaign called We Need Not campaign. That We Need Not campaign was really a campaign to actually make sure that Merrick Garland, who was almost unanimously put on this on the DC circuit by even some of the folks that were sitting in the Senate in this very moment. And there they stood and said that we want to make sure that the next president, right, talking about 2016, can select that Supreme Court justice. Yeah. Fine, right? Democrats say, you know what? Fine, right? Here we are, literally almost 4 years later, and we're dealing with a similar issue. And then so I guess the question is, and
they flipped the script, right? By the way,
right? Exactly.
The argument is different now. It's like, oh, there's different considerations. Now it's my president. The rules are different, right?
And that's why, like, to me, like, I really like, I try to wrestle with like what's right, what's wrong, precedent versus like just winning. Like one thing that the GOP does probably better than anybody is like they just don't give a damn, right? They're gonna win at all costs, right?
Totally.
Like, period. Like, they don't give a damn. They could have said yesterday that the sky was red and today the sky is blue, right?
They cheat and steal. Yes, they do.
And so what right now, right, in your role, and what is the Biden campaign thinking about as we roll, right? In anticipation, let's say that Biden-Harris actually wins. It's November 4th, right? Are there certain things that because what do you think is going to happen? Because like, Trump is still going to be in office. The GOP, the Senate's still going to be controlled by the actual the GOP even after the election. Do you think, in your own expertise or your own judgment, that they're going to just still try to ram this nominee down our throats in terms of trying to get that person on the court?
Yeah, well, I mean, just today, Romney has offered up his support to move forward on the Senate floor with the vote. So it feels like to me, and then, if you listen to Lindsey Graham, they're trying to get this done before the actual election. But you're right to highlight the hypocrisy of it all, right? Because when Barack Obama was the president and we had an opportunity to nominate a justice, they decided at that time somehow it was, and that was 100 days out, if not longer, from the actual election. Well, how long was it? You're muted.
You're on mic. You're on mute.
It was 200 plus days. It was
200 plus days, right? So out from an election, and at that point, it was too close, in their opinion. It was way too close. We need to let the next president decide who should be the Supreme Court nominee. And so I don't think at that time we fought as hard of a battle as we should have or could have. But all of this makes your point, which is that every vote matters and counts, no matter where you are. It's not just the top of the ticket that matters. We as Democrats a lot focus on the top of the ticket, who's going to be the president and who's going to be the vice president, versus going all the way down the ballot and voting.
Into
all of those, yeah, and to the Senate too. More importantly, to the Senate, because that's who's going to decide how we move forward on the Supreme Court nominee. The House doesn't have any equities in this fight. It's just the Senate fight. Mm-hmm. So I think you're 100% right. I mean, so part of what we're trying to do with the Biden campaign is to get people educated on how, when, and where they can vote. So we're driving everybody to iwillvote.com so that they can learn how to vote. Part of the other education is this driving this point that you raised, which is that it's not just the presidential race that matters. It's all of them that matter, from your mayor, because they decide who's going to be the police chief, right? They're your council member, because they decide what local laws that matter. Your member of Congress, because they're going to vote on pay equity, minimum wage increases, all of these issues that matter at the federal level. And then your Senate races matter terribly because of, we've passed, when I was working for Pelosi, I think we passed like 200 plus bills. One to increase minimum wage, to address gun violence, right? Gun violence reform, right? All of these issues that matter, environmental issues, like all these issues that matter to us, we've passed these bills and they're stalled out in the Senate, right? So these Senate races matter even more so than the presidential races. So we can't just come out every 4 years. It's every 2 that we have to come out and exercise our right to vote. And so the third thing I would say, we're trying to get people to understand that your vote is your power. That is your power. Claim your power in this dynamic. If you don't, somebody else will. And that's exactly what we're seeing. The Senate is deciding they're not moving on issues that are important to you, right? They're going to move forward. They don't give a damn what they said when Barack Obama was the president. They're moving forward with their nominee now. So the point is like, we have to claim our power. And to me, it was so heartening to see the hundreds of thousands of people, not only here in the United States, but globally, that took to the streets to claim their power, and we have to understand that it doesn't end there. That has to transfer over to November 3rd. And then it has to transfer past that point where we have to continue to hold our elected officials accountable, no matter who the president is or your elected officials, Democrat or Republican. So yeah, I mean, you're 100% right, but we're very focused on making sure people know how to vote, when to vote, where to vote, with iwillvote.com, and understanding that, listen, your vote is your power. And if you don't have that power, you have nothing. And I'll quote one last thing, and then I'll turn it back over to you. My old boss, Speaker Pelosi, said it to me perfectly, and to the world perfectly. Like, people don't give away power. You have to take it. They're not going to give you anything. So we have to go in and take it on November 3rd. And, so we're encouraging everybody to go and vote for Biden-Harris, because that's the path for us to reclaim our power in this dynamic and take it back from the hands of Putin and whoever else Donald Trump's giving it to.
With you saying that you have to take it, there's power in that statement in itself. With your title, did you imagine seeing yourself working this enormous role right now? Because it's so serious to have Harris in the position that she is, and then working behind the scenes like you are, thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, thank
Working
you.
behind the scenes like you are, it's in a phenomenal role. So
Yeah.
you took this role, in my opinion. Like
Oh,
you
thank
made
you.
you made it yours. You saw it, you sought it out. But when did you know that you were going to be doing something as enormous as 2020, considering everything that's happened with COVID and everything else?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I've been incredibly blessed in my career. I've just been blessed to have shown up to this town and didn't know anybody, to then be able to work my butt off and then work for the speaker, to elect
Okay.
the speaker a second time, work for the speaker, then go work for Barack Obama in the White House. That was
Come on.
not only work for him, but elect him in Virginia. We flipped Virginia and then we won. And I got the opportunity to work in the White House. And now I get, I have the opportunity to elect the first Black woman vice president. And that's
Come
just,
through.
yeah, and that's just incredible. And so, I mean, I never even knew when I was as a young person that any of these opportunities would be available to me. Like when I was in college, I was a political science major, but nobody talked to you about like, you could be the West Wing, right? Like,
Huh.
you can be Olivia Pope, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, now we have Olivia Pope so people can actually see it. But at the time, like there was no examples of us doing any of these jobs. And even when I started on the Hill, Cirillo, you could probably attest to this. Like there aren't that many Black senior level staffers. So I'm the first to have ever done my job on the Hill for the speaker and even in the White House. So it's been an incredible blessing. I never thought it was going to happen, but I can tell you that phrase that you have to take it is true even in politics and in business. I mean, in politics, especially as a woman and as a woman of color, because I realized like, look, again, you have to be in charge of your own life and your own destiny, and you can't allow anybody to run interference on that. And so for me, I've always been in a position to say, and there have been times I've been really timid, about taking it. I mean, there's times, some days where I'm less timid and more aggressive than others. But the reality is like, to quote a urban philosopher, closed mouths don't get fed on this boulevard. So you know what I mean?
Urban philosopher.
You gotta take it.
I love it.
Yeah, but I've been blessed. There's no doubt about that. I've been really blessed. And part of what I've been able to do is really help mentor the next batch of people, Black folks who want to do this, Black women in particular, who want to do these jobs. And I go in and I advocate for us, which is like, look, we've never done these jobs before. You can't say we don't exist. We've proven. I led the impeachment war room for the speaker. And, and my point coming out of that was like, look, we can do these jobs. You guys have to give us the opportunity, but too often we don't get the opportunity to fail. I'm like, I've never failed. And people get promoted who've never won. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
Yeah. Damn. So I mean, listen, so we got to advocate for ourselves and take it for ourselves. And then we got to bring everybody with us.
And I would just want to add to that point though, because Mara, I know you want to jump in, but like, it's not even just an opportunity to actually succeed, but the opportunity just generally speaking, because like we've seen, right, white folks, and no offense to white folks, but y'all have had many moments to figure this goddamn thing out, what we call America, to make sure there's equity, right, for people, for Black folks and brown folks. There's equity, right, for paying in terms of women. It's equity in terms of women rights and where they stand. It's equity for the trans community. And so it's like, for me, it's like y'all been at the top for a long time. You've been failing a lot of communities for a long time. It's okay to even see. I want to make sure that I make this point clear: is that even if Black folks and brown folks didn't succeed for 20 years from now, it would be okay to keep running Black and brown folks back up there in leadership roles, because the only way you become sophisticated, the only way you become versed in these roles, if you have multiple on top of multiple opportunities to get it done. The problem is that we are under such a tight crunch because we only got enough space for one or two or three. And because of that, we got to make sure we perfect. And guess what? Nobody is perfect. And so we got to make sure that we got to be careful. And I'm not saying to you, Ashley, but just generally speaking, that we just don't go like, hey, we got to get an opportunity. No, we need decades, generations of opportunity to make sure that we clear and pave the way so we can bring on generations of people into the fold that are actually versed in politics, versed in whatever particular vocation or field that is. So anyway, Mariana.
I 100% agree with you. And the reality is the reason why we've failed, why there's been a failure to create a more equitable world is because there weren't enough of us at the table to ensure that actually happens. I mean, because when you get to the table, you realize, oh, wow, you guys don't even know who we are, what matters to us, what drives us, what motivates us, what we care about. And the reality is it's not that different from anyone else. But, there's a lot of nuance to it, right? And there's a lot of history. There's a lot of, systems that have to be broken down. But it's partly because we don't get the opportunity to be at the table that we don't have more equitable systems and more equitable society.
Yes, indeed.
I wanted to ask, we're talking about generations, we're talking about changing what it looks like to be politically active for our community members. What would you say to young people that want to get active, but they're not a voter age? How can they be active? How can they get more educated, supportive? What trajectory would you suggest for them to groom themselves to be politically active when it comes time to voting and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, we talked earlier about my last name being French. When I went on my first international trip to Haiti, and the kids there were so incredibly politically astute and engaged, even at as young as 6 years old. They knew, you know, their political officials. They knew the dynamics in the parties. Like they understood that, and I just was incredibly impressed with that. I was like, oh, I wish we had a little more of that. I think part of what's key, what I would tell young people is that 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 life is affecting you every day. So you have to figure out what aspect of that of your life and what's affecting your life do you want to change, right? Or do you not find sufficient? So for example, you're in school and you think like, I have a young cousin, she's a high schooler, and she's like, we've never had a Black person to run for homecoming queen or king and win, right? So she's like, I want to do that. We've never had a Black person be, the head of the student government. So she wants to do that. I was like, but why? You have to figure out what your why is, right? Like answer that question. So life is happening to you. You don't like it, but what about that don't you like, and why don't you like it? And I think that's the place to start. And her argument was, well, because there has not been any representation from young kids of color, that the whole high school experience is built around kids that don't look like me. And I don't appreciate that. So we don't have a place in it at all, and none of it reflects who we are and our own interests. And I said, well, now that's your why. Now we got to figure out what's the vehicle and the mechanism for you to change that. So she decided she wanted to run for student government president. So I'm helping her with her campaign. It's going to be spectacular, of course, as you can imagine. Because I'm like, this is what I do for a living. I'm all excited about it. I'm like, oh, girl, let's get to the points together. Like, let's make this work. But nevertheless, the point is that, young people should figure out, like, again, life is happening to you. What aspects of your life that do you want to change? And let's find the right vehicles and mechanisms to change it. You don't have to be a voting age to have a voice, right? I mean, many of the kids who were walking, who were marching in the streets, weren't of voting age, but made the difference, right? You look at SNCC and like all these other movements that have been started by young people, Parkland, I mean, name it. There's tons of movements that have been started and founded by young people that have really had transformational change in politics and in their lives. So yeah, you don't have to be a voting age to pick up the mantle and argue for what you think, how you think your life should be changed, and how you think your life should be made better. Like, listen, again, it gets back to my urban philosopher quote, like literally, if you don't advocate for yourself, nobody else will. And that's the point. And that's what we have to articulate to our kids. I tell that to my daughter, who's always trying to negotiate to be boss number one. Like literally every day it's a negotiation, right? I tell it to all the kids in my neighborhood, like, look, there's trash on your streets. Do you want to have trash on your streets? Do you want to live in a trash can? Why would you want trash on your streets? Let's pick this up. And if you see somebody else drop it, you tell them not in my neighborhood. So there's a lot of ways that young kids can get activated. But they just first have to figure out, listen, what's your why? Why do you want to get activated? And then let's find the right vehicles and mechanisms. And then we as adults have to be the model for them. We have to help them pursue it. we've blazed these trails. Now we have to give them the game plan to figure out how to make their own change in life.
Yes,
1000%.
Perfect.
If I didn't take anything from that, but the one statement of, man, know your why. I think that's across the board for your entire life. When you know your why, you can always fall back on that. I think one thing about being in politics, man, it can be a grind, right? It can be a grind every single day. Every single day you wake up and you got to remember why you got into this work. Because sometimes, though, man, those rough days can really, really, really hit you like a sledgehammer some days. And especially on an election campaign, and for any young person out there trying to get on a campaign where you're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever it is, right? Understand that electoral politics, issue-based advocacy is really a grind, man. And you got to always understand your why and why exactly you do what you do, whether it be for your own self, whether it be for your mama, your brother, your cousin, the various communities that you may be a part of, or all those things combined, right? Always remember Ashley's point, which is to remember your why and why you got into the space that you're in this particular moment in time, man. And know that it's not by chance that you're there. So anyway.
So what's your why before you leave? What's your why?
What's your why?
My why?
Yeah, I got questions for all y'all. Like, listen, let me wrap a response. Right.
That's a good one. I think this is the first time a guest has asked us a question.
Ladies first. Sika, you can go first. Ladies first.
My why is my people and being led, however ancestrally I'm being led. So being connected to nature and being connected to what leads me to produce whatever is necessary for our people so that we can be dependent on ourselves and that we don't have to look outside of ourselves for whatever we may need, whether it's little or the biggest thing. So that's my why, is us.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nice.
My why is really rooted in using all the gifts and all the abilities that I have to teach the how, right? Because I think the first step is helping to create awareness of the why, but my why is my mission to teach how to be restored, how to be safe, how to execute our goals, and how to leave that for the generations that are coming, behind us. So my why is teaching how to execute the how. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Man, that was up. I don't know if I can follow that.
That's all right.
And my why, honestly, is to make this world. I know it's kind of cliche, but honestly, like, make this world a better place than when I found it. You know what I mean? Like, leave some kind of lasting impact, some type of footprint. So at least people know that have came in contact with me, that like I actually existed on this earth, right? I didn't just take what anybody gave me. I actually went out and made a difference. And so my why is to make sure that, all my nieces and nephews and young folks coming behind me, that we trailblaze and kind of carve out paths that we never actually saw that was actually possible. But as we're living, right, we're actually living Black history. Ashley, you are living Black history, right? Sika, Mariana, Black with No Chaser, the Black Lunch Break, we are living Black history. And we want to make sure that we are giving each other our flowers now, right? And that we are celebrating our successes, no matter how small they can be or will be. But my why has always been the betterment of humanity, but more importantly, man, the betterment of our people. And so, yeah, that's really what it's all about.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, guys.
I live in Black history, Rillo. You are too, my brother.
Shout out to the Wave, man. My folks out here in DC, man. The Washington Informer, the only Black publication here in Washington DC. So shout out to the Washington Informer, all the good folks over there, man, and the Wave USA for constantly doing y'all thing, man. Y'all are living Black history. Appreciate y'all. So anyway, Ashley, before you get out here, anything else you got to say on behalf of the Joe Biden campaign, yourself, and all the beautiful people that you may know in your life?
Yeah, no, I think, we've said this, and I think this can't be overstated, is that, again, this is the most consequential election we've ever faced in our lifetimes. We cannot afford to take our foot off the gas here. We cannot afford to not drive everybody to the polls before November and come November. So I just want to leave you guys with two things. One, today is National Voter Registration Day. Make sure you're registered to vote. You can go to iwillvote.com to learn how to register, when to vote, where to vote, what you need to vote. Again, reclaim your power, take your power. Your vote is your power. Don't do it just for yourself. Do it for the next generation. Do it as was said. Do it for our ancestors. Do it because, listen, the whole world is depending on it. And I say that with no level of exaggeration, that our lives and rights are on the line here in this election. We cannot afford to, to quote Barack Obama, let Pookie and them stay home. Like, we need to drive everybody out to vote. So I'll leave you with that. And thank you guys for all the exceptional work you're doing. I love Black with No Chaser. I am Black with No Chaser. Find me in DC. Maybe we can do a chaser a little later, once we get off the air.
Ashley, I'm here. So like, anytime you want to get up, and also too, anytime you're always welcome to Black with No Chaser. We really do appreciate all the work that you've done over the years. Again, 41 more days to go, y'all. So let's go ahead.
But we should operate like it's 20 days left. And for those. You also raised a good point. People can go to joebiden.com and figure out how to volunteer. We got a lot of exceptional programs, Sister to Sister, which is a phone bank where Black women get together and talk about issues that matter to us. We have also Shop Talk, which, as I mentioned, the senator's doing her first Shop Talk event today in Michigan, in a barbershop, which should be exceptional. But that's also a safe space for brothers to talk about issues that matter to them, and really drive the point that we need to turn out and turn up and turn out to vote this election.
Yeah. And shameless plug, though, I should say, Ashley, right before you go, though, we have 100 Black Fathers event with Amplify Action, and we're going to be streaming that. It's on October 12th on Indigenous Peoples Day. So we're going to go ahead and subvert the whole Columbus Day and not even worry about that. On Indigenous Peoples Day, we're going to convene 100 Black Fathers to talk about issues specific to Black fathers across this country, y'all. So anyway,
make sure you invite me since I'm single.
Hey, we going. They gonna look. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Don't be Love Jones ready.
Love a good father, right? Love a good father. No, I'm just joking. But that's spectacular. Let us know how we can support, because that's important.
For sure. Thank you so much, Ashley. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Good luck rest of the
way.
Have
a great one.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Anyway, yo.
That was a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, man, Ashley's dope, yo. I was actually happy to see that she said Aquemini. It's fun fact though. Aquemini was one of the first albums, one of my favorite albums, man, of Outkast, if not one of my favorite rap albums of all time. So,
Aquemini right there.
Yo, Aquemini is definitely a timeless classic album by Outkast. So shout out to Outkast and ATL, man.
Watch this episode. We're all in synchronization. We're all gonna go listen to the Aquemini album, okay?
Oh,
y'all better
go stream that today.
Y'all better figure it out.
So y'all, before we get on out of here, we got about 7 minutes before we out of your hair. Make sure you are following the ticker down below. If you want to advertise with Black with No Chaser, you see that email right down there below. Send all your inquiries to us. We will get with you as soon as possible. And if you need any Black with No Chaser merch, go to the website. We have plenty of good things on there waiting on you guys. The merch store is popping. We got new designs coming. Everything is just Black with No Chaser. So make sure you guys are getting everything that you need. We even have masks available. So yeah, go get that mask and neck gaiters. So we need those in the street so everybody can see that you are walking around. Black with No Chaser.
The leg warmers.
And as you see right here on the screen, we have all of the social media accounts that you need to be following. Of course, please make sure you are following the Black Lunch Break here on Facebook, also on Instagram, and it is Black Lunch Break on Twitter. Same thing goes for Black with No Chaser, ME, and of course, all of our other subsidiaries, Them Hands University and Very Fly Life. You guys need to make sure.
Stop bootlegging our shit. Stop bootlegging our shit.
You will be receiving something.
And also arrest the damn cops who murdered Breonna Taylor. That too, right there. Anyway, man. God damn, man. And we are waiting for the decision to come out, man. The state of Kentucky has already declared a state of emergency, which means that they're probably preparing for this sorry you know what. Daniel, was it Cameron? Daniel, The state AG, the Attorney General, will be coming out today at some point, probably in the latter portion of the day, right? We're already 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time almost right now. So you can expect that to be coming out very, 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 very soon, in which you should also expect that they're not going to be indicting any of the officers that actually murdered our dear sister Breonna Taylor. So anyway, arrest those damn cops, man. If not, though, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen.
Make sure you have your emergency plans and your safety bags put together, because when we're in a state of emergency, things could be unpredictable. You see how that all came together? That all came together.
Hey, perfect timing. Perfect timing with that message. Hey, so we're about to get out of here. As always, I guess, Rilla, you want to bow us out gracefully?
Yeah, you know, look, hey, this is episode 5, man. I'm Rillo, episode 5, season 2 of the Black Lunch Break. I really do appreciate each and every one of you that lock in with us for every single show. Look, honestly, we cannot do this thing without y'all. Like Sika said, making sure that you go to blackwithnochaser.com, man, and go check out the merch, read some articles, share some articles, like some articles, comment on some articles. Just get engaged with the Black with No Chaser brand, y'all. We do appreciate y'all for real, man. And look, we're going to be back on Thursday. Are we going to be? Maybe, yep. I don't know. Yeah, we back on Thursday. Back on Thursday, man. Episode 6, y'all. So y'all stay locked and loaded, man, for the guests on that day. But look, y'all, this is Black with No Chaser, the Black Lunch Break, where we think black,
live black,
unapologetically, y'all.
Oh yeah, y'all took my line.
My bad. Usually we kind of say that all at one time, y'all. We live, y'all. Like, you know, have you ever seen ESPN Live? They just be like just winging that shit.
They just wing it.
We don't really know what's gonna come out of Mariana's mouth or Sika's mouth or the guest's mouth or my mouth, right? But one thing you do know is that some words will be said, right? Words will be said. Last will be passed along. CJ is gonna comment. Tyson is gonna talk some shit in the comments. So we do appreciate all of y'all out there. For real, man. You know, we back on Thursday. We back.
We out.